much of Confrontation is sort of being developed specifically for the fans, like with that sort of fan service in mind?
I think that when we were looking at Confrontation, we wanted to identify what people really resonated with in the previous games. People were really into the urban environments, the tight feel of them. When the environment started to get bigger and we added vehicles, it sort of took away from some of those elements. And so it's not as much trying to recreate a previous experience as much as it is really analyzing the previous games, what worked well, what people picked up on, what people really enjoyed, and then moving those to sort of a next-gen Socom experience.
Do you anticipate doing any other maps from the previous games?
Well, we're looking into it. I think that we want to see how the game does with the current maps that we're going to be releasing, gauge consumer feedback, how much they like, Crossroads, which is based off an older map, versus some of the newer maps that we're doing, and then just really look at the response that we get from people and see what the interest level is for doing more classic maps.
How many maps are you planning on shipping with? Do you know yet?
Right now, we're looking at 7 maps.
Okay. You've talked about the possibility of downloadable content. I mean, do you have any kind of plans in place for any kind of schedule, like how frequently you expect to release stuff?
Yes, that's something that is very important to this project as well, and we do have a schedule in place. We're trying to have some sort of update about once a month is our goal, and then a larger amount of content about every 3 months. So that's our current plan, and we already have some things in development for the post-deployment support already started.
Have you talked at all about pricing or anything like that in terms of both the initial product and then the downloadable content?
Yeah, we're not ready to announce pricing yet. We're still evaluating that, but I think that comparing it to Warhawk is a fair comparison.
Where are you at this point in the project? Like, what are you kind of focusing most on with regard to kind of the overall game?
Well, a lot of it has been trying to define that gameplay experience, and a big part of that was getting up with 32 players up and running with all the core movement sets, with all the core basic weapon types, and then trying to optimize the performance to get it to a place where you can play it and get a good feel for the game. All the things like clans, tournament support, as well as additional levels that are in the pipeline being developed. So everything's going along in parallel.
Is there any kind of perception of value with regard to downloadable content? Do you think that people are unwilling to pay more for downloadable content, or that don't consider it like kind of on par with a retail product?
I think that is one of the challenges, and that's one of the things we look at. It's kind of disheartening how little people value maps. I think it's the biggest addition that you can do to a game, and yet the price expectation is so low, and the amount of resources that it takes to go in and create a map, from design, art, audio, all these different aspects, the cost is very high. I think when we start getting into downloadable content, that's one of the biggest challenges.
Is there any kind of conflict with retail?
We do try with the retail SKU to have a premium. So, we're looking at, we have a Blu-ray disc, there's lots of extra space on it. We can add in exclusive movies and those type of behind-the-scenes content, as well as the retail version having a headset bundled with it. So I think that there's definite value of buying the retail version of the game over the PSN version of the game. But at the same time, some people really like the convenience of the PSN version. They like getting it right away. They like not having to put a disc in order to play it. So you have another group of people who just care more about the game and not some of these extras or other things they may get in the PSN titles, the perfect version for them.
What kind of challenges do you encounter as a studio who's kind of picking up this very popular franchise and, you know, putting your own spin on it?
Right off the bat, as soon as we heard the word Socom, we were really excited. And there's a lot of fans, and I personally have played a ton of Socom. The enormity of what fans expect from the franchise and how passionate and involved the fans are is this huge amount of expectation and love for the franchise. And people, you know, they want everything. They want it exactly the same as it always was. They want tons of innovation. They want it now. The spirit of Socom 1 and 2, that's is sort of the guiding principle that we use kind of as our razor when we're debating a lot of design decisions. We stay close to that.
There was initially talk about destructible environments, which was I think sort of misinterpreted when it was made known that there were destructible elements of the environments.
We did some technology tests where, you know, we were just testing the idea of blowing holes in walls and doing things like that, but they really quickly break the flow and the intended design of a map. So we have highly destructible cover. We have lots of different kinds of props that break, and we have bullet penetration. So you put that together, and suddenly places that were safe in a very static world are now safe, and it really changes the play, changes your strategy.
You guys have this calendar, this online calendar where you're going to be able to schedule tournaments and stuff. I mean, can you explain that a little bit?
I mean, what we realized was that, you know, it's a totally online, totally competitive game with all these, you know, apart from the custom rooms where you just make your own games and do whatever you like, there are all of these, you know, ladders and tournaments and challenges to play. So really, a lot of it's about scheduling, like how many, you know, upcoming games you have, and there may be special types of tournaments that are put on, or sort of, you know, a big tournament can break out into a lot of different games to play. It looks like a calendar, and you can just see every one of your upcoming matches on the calendar, and then they alert you and so forth.
And you guys will have you'll be putting up like official tournaments and you know, kind of like regular sponsored type stuff.
That sounds like an interesting idea.
And then you're also using the 6-axis for cover stuff.
To the extent that you're using cover in the game, you use the 6-axis. And when you're at stop, the 6-axis lets you lean the body, which was done in previous Socoms with a D-pad, I believe. But this is much more precise. And it also has a vertical component of stance. But you can use it anywhere. The better I get with that, the quicker I can. So it's an interesting addition to the game. There's some new stuff in there for sure. There's a lot of new stuff that, you know, is evolutionary and some revolutionary. But I think that for those really hardcore fans that are scared of change, I think they'll be okay.